let everyone get settled. So I have some sage and geranium and rose water here. And so this weekend for me, well, I should backtrack. I have been healing my ancestors, my families, friends. I mean, I'm sure all of you are doing this kind of work for the past 20 years. And I have found that my ancestors, my Cherokee Abenaki ancestors, and also my Mayan ancestors really want to have the healing, this kind of healing work done this weekend. It's very important for all of our life purposes so that we can walk the path of beauty, which is a term in the Navajo Cherokee tradition, walking in beauty. Yes, please join our circle. Come on in. And walking in beauty means walking in our soul light, fulfilling our life purpose, and being a beacon of light for everyone around us. And I really love that term, walking in beauty. And I'm very interested in the reason I called for a circle is because we've had a lot of left brain thinking, and so we need some goddess energy. And that's where I come in. I am very connected to many of the goddesses from many traditions, not just Native American and the Mayan, but also the Chinese, Kuan Yin, Lady Guadalupe, the ancient Celtic goddesses, Lady of the Lake, and many, many others, Isis and Sekhmet. And so I'm going to make an offering to the Earth Mother. I wrote some words on the board over there because I'm going to use some Mayan and Lakota words so you can write them down. And so the Pachamama Eustace are all of the water goddesses, the lakes, the ponds, the streams, the rivers, the oceans. So Pachamama Eustace, Mama Atlantica, Mama Pacifica. I'm not from Vermont, but one of my Pachamama Eustace that I talk to is Lake Champlain because she links the Northeast and New York with the rest of the country. And then I have my local Pachamama Eustaces. So, and the Pachamama Eustaces, of course, are water. And water, they are very powerful goddesses that heal emotions, that heal our hearts. And so when we're talking about healing ourselves, our families, our friends, our ancestral energies, it's emotional healing that they are calling for, and that to help us move into our walking in beauty life, to work walking into our soul purpose. So I'm going to make an offering to Pachamama, which is the Mother Earth, to the Pachamama Eustace, to the Tunkashilas. Tunkashilas, that's on the board, so you can write it down. That is a Lakota word for grandfathers. Unchimaka is a Lakota word for the Earth Mother and also grandmother. Earth Mother and grandmother. So we're really, so my weekend here has been all about ancestral work, ancestral healing, and of course, the sacred directions. So after I make the offerings, then I'm going to pass this around, and you can bless yourselves by spritzing your hands, putting it on your face, on your legs, your chest, your arms, and also offering to Pachamama and the Pachamama Eustace, because we're We're honoring the goddesses especially right now, because we need their love and we need their energy to help us transform ourselves. And as we transform ourselves, we are transforming our friends, our families, our ancestral peoples. Because there really is no separation. And this has been a huge transformational year for me. And learning that there really is no separation, it is an illusion. It is an illusion. So when we heal ourselves, we are healing everyone around us, including our ancestral spirits. And boy, do they want the healing, because they know that we are in a critical point in humanity's evolution, and we're making that jump, and they're behind us 100%. So by honoring them, they are coming with us, helping us with their prayers and their songs, because the ancient ceremonies that have been done 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, are still in that space-time dimension happening now. Because they knew, our ancestors were very intelligent. They knew that this was the time of the huge shift, when we would learn how to walk in our beauty and walk in our light. So I'll start with Pachamama and Eustace. And Pachamama. Tunkashalas. Unchimaka. And this is my Mayan Mesa. So now I'm going to offer this to this woman here. And please bless the Earth Mother and yourself. And I'm going to also, while you're doing that, I'm going to get my pipe out and talk a little bit about the pipe. And then I'm going to put the pipe together. And then everyone will have a chance to put a pinch of tobacco in the pipe, and then I will smoke it later. So everyone's prayers will be in that pipe. So I'm first going to sing a song, a spirit entering song, to call in the spirits to help us. And this is a special song that calls in the Tunkashalas, the grandfathers. And I will balance that out once I get the pipe out with the White Buffalo Calf Woman, because she is big goddess energy that is returning now. So let me do that one song first. I'm going to do one verse for each sacred direction. So that's a spirit entering song, and that calls in the beautiful spirits to come in and help us with this ritual and healing today. So now I will get the pipe out. Now, is everyone familiar with the story of the white buffalo calf woman? Okay. Well, in Lakota tradition and in the Cherokee and the Apache and with the Abenaki, it wasn't the white buffalo, it was the white deer woman. And so the white buffalo calf woman came to Lakota, and the whole story takes a while, but in short, she came to teach the people with the pipe. She was a buffalo maiden that turned into a human being to bring the blessing to the people, the prayers and the pipe to the people, so that every time they loaded the pipe, they would remember that we are all related. The humans, the Earth Mother, all of the animals, plants, birds, creatures that swam, creatures that flew, and creatures that crawled on the earth. So to bring that balance. So this is the bowl of the pipe, which is, her name is Mari, and Mari means sea and water. And red, of course, is the color of the heart chakra. So Mari was gifted to me. And so Mari is the feminine part. She's the Earth Mother part of the pipe. Now I had planned a whole outline 4 days ago, 10 days ago. And the spirit said, well, we want you to change it a little bit at the last minute. And I was like, okay. And they wanted, I was going to be more left-brained, and they were like, no, we want you to bring in the goddess energy to help people. And we are going to get this to the soul fragment part and calling in some soul fragments today. And I will be talking more about that, but we want to do the ceremony first so that everyone can have a chance with the floral water and for praying for the ancestors. And this is the wooden part of the pipe, which is the stem. And the stem is actually from the cedar woods in California. It was picked off the ground. And this stem has a little snake head on the end, as you can see. And snake in the Mayan tradition, snake is in the southern direction with the Earth Mother, and snake is Wilka Amaku. And snake helps us to move through emotions easily and keeping our groundedness, keeping our belly on the Earth Mother. And Wilka Amaru also is connected to the pineal gland, where we have the visions. And our pineal gland is right here. That's where the Indian goddesses lots of time and gods have the red dot there to represent the pineal gland. And so we want to activate and awaken the pineal gland to connect with our heart chakras. So this is, even though this is the male part of the pipe, it's still holding the feminine energy. Isn't that interesting? And when I was carving this, I didn't know what this was going to be at first, but it wanted to be the snake. And the snake is ancient in the goddess religions in ancient Greece. They had temples, snake temples, where women and men, they were run by the women priestesses, and people would go in and sleep on these stone platforms with the snakes around them until they had a vision or until they had a dream about how to solve an issue or their health or any kind of problem. So snake is very, very beneficial and connected to Unchi Maka, the grandmother earth, and the earth mother. Oh, that's okay. Thank you. So we're joining the male and the female, and we have the male and female energy inside of us. And when we're healing, it's important to heal both the male and the feminine. And oftentimes, soul fragments will come into, most of the time they come into the heart chakra. Sometimes they come into the crown chakra, but most of the time, in myself and other people that I have facilitated with healing, other clients and friends, it can come in through the crown, but most of the time through the heart. And sometimes it is a soul fragment from the male side, which is the right, and the feminine side, which is the left. So this pipe is teaching us not only balance with all of our relations, animals, beings, birds, whatever, but also balance within ourselves and in relationships. That male and female polarity really needs a lot of love right now. So I'm going to put some tobacco in there first, and then I'm going to pass the tobacco around so everyone can put in a pinch, praying for whatever you need help for and whatever you want to send to your ancestors or family members. So this tobacco is for all that's above us, that's within us. All that's below us, that's within us. All of the stars, all of the ancestral energies of love and light, the ancestors that need healing, our families, our friends, our communities, and our Earth Mother, and any worlds beyond that need healing. And the sacred directions, healing the ley lines and all the sacred directions, healing all the hearts here. And with this tobacco, I ask that when we pass this around, that any soul fragments that want to come back, that are ready and willing and able, may return at this time. So when we pass the pipe, we pass with 2 hands. And I will pass the tobacco along with it. And please take a pinch and pass that on. And then I'm going to call and sing a pipe song for the Tunkashulas. Tunkashulas, Tunkashulas, Ikshe wakasa tachanu paki yuha hoye waye lo he mitaku yo wanite lo hoye hoye waye lo he. So in the song Mitaku yo, is talking about the ancestors. That Mitakuye means I shall live with my ancestors. I shall remember my ancestors because they are a part of us, and their prayers and their love are with us. And we are offering our love to them and our prayers to them. And you see it's a beautiful circle. And it helps to balance. And our ancestors are very powerful because they were all, in the ancient days, they were all shamans. They were priestesses and priests of love and light, and they knew how to do all this high-level healing. So when there's a lot of healing that needs to happen, I call on the ancestors because they know how to do this. Tunkashilas, Wamako Yelo, Ikshe Wakasa, Tachanu Paki, Mitaku Yelo, Hayawe, Wamako Yelo, Ikshe Yo, Hey, Ya, Hoye, Wayelo, Hey. Now I'm going to go to the feminine, to the white buffalo calf woman. And Oyate in the Lakota tradition, in the Lakota vocabulary, Oyate means nation. So there is the Lakota nation, there's the Star Nation, there's the Buffalo Nation, and all the nations of all the different peoples and all the different worlds and all the different animal and being nations, the Rock Nation, for instance. Oyate wamayankapo, Oyate wamayankapo, Lechenupa, Kile wankanyelo, hey. Oyate wamayankapo, hey. Oyate wamayankapo, Oyate wamayankapo, Lechenupa, Kile wankanyelo, hey. Oyate wamayankapo, hey. Oyate wamayankapo, Oyate wamayankapo, Lechenupa, Kile wankanyelo, hey. Oyate wamayankapo, hey. Oyate wamayankapo, Oyate wamayankapo, Lechenupa, Kile wankanyelo, hey. Oyate inekutilo, hey. So that song is saying, Oyate wamayankapo, people look at me, listen to me. And when you hold the pipe, remember that it's sacred and pray with the pipe. And remember the balance that the pipe represents. And the last line of the last verse, because we traditionally sing each song in the sacred four directions, the last line is Oyate in a pictolo, which means people you shall live. So we want to live in balance. We want to live with the highest vibrational frequencies. And because the drum is round The drum is really wonderful for healing the heart chakra, raising our vibrational frequencies. And can everyone feel the drum on their chest? It's very, very powerful. And it's a wonderful healing tool. And so when I started dowsing, I did use a pendulum, but now I have developed so that I use mostly intuitive dowsing. And dowsing, Raymond Grace was one of my mentors, and he really helped me a lot because he said it's all about intention and then putting energy behind that intention. And the Native American ceremonies are all about praying with intention. All of our ceremonies are about praying with powerful intentions and calling in the earth spirits and the grandfathers and the stars and our relations that are in the stars. Almost many Native American tribes that I'm related to and others that are distant relations, all are very connected to the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians are the seven sisters, and in the Mayan tradition, each Pleiadian star has its own vibrational essence of healing. So the Pleiadians are very, very powerful, and it's interesting that there's 7 stars because we have the 7 chakras and the chakra colors. So each Pleiadian star is related to a layer of our chakra. So, I mean, it's powerful stuff. I mean, how much more powerful can you have the Mother Earth and the Pachamamanistas and the stars and the Tunkashalas? I mean, there is just so much help in the universal nature, natural energy that we can call on. And that's what these ancient ceremonies of the pipe and the drum and the purification lodge keep reminding us of, is that there is power all around us in the natural world that we can call on to help us shift ourselves and our lives and our communities. Let's see, was there another song? Oh, I want to call in. One of my big spirit helpers is Bear. And in the Mayan tradition, it's Puma and Jaguar. And I do want to mention Puma and Jaguar. But Mato Bear is one of the songs that came to me for healing is Mato Peji Hota. And Mato is bear, and that's Lakota. And Mato Peji Hota means walking in silver. So it's bear walking in the sage, because sage is their chief plant for medicine. And even the Chinese use a form of sage for moxibustion. And oh, really? Really? Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I live in New Hampshire by Concord over in the woods, and I was driving. I just moved Memorial Day weekend, and I was starting to move right before then, and I looked into a field on my left, and there was a 2-year-old black bear that came out of the woods, looked at me 3 times, and went back into the woods. Now, my Mayan teacher, Puma, says that when an animal or bird comes out of the right, it is a message from the Earth Mother. And then if an animal or bird or something comes out from the left, it's the Apus. So the Apus are the sacred mountain spirits. And so when I was driving up here, I came up, let's see, Friday morning. The mountains around here were just gorgeous. So when I first got here, I made an offering to the Apus and to the mountain spirits to bless all of these courses and bless our workshops and everyone who's here. So in the Mayan tradition, we have, for the mesa, we have a crystal programmed with a mountain spirit for each sacred direction. So that's part of my mesa. And then I have the crystals programmed with the Pachamama and Eustace. So let's see, did I want to do oh yeah, Mato Peji Hota. So I'm going to not do the whole thing because we've got to move on and get to something else. But I'm going to sing Mato Peji Hota for in the moonlight, because the mother moon shows us what's hidden. And in the Mayan tradition, Condor is in, or contour as they call it, is in the western direction, which is where Mamakia is. That's the mother moon. And Condor is the bird that is really good at traveling long distances to find soul fragments. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So I wanted to sing Mato Peji Hota in the west. And west is also the direction of the Tunkashilas and the Pachamama Eustace and the Condor, Mato Peji Hota. What was the other thing I was going to say? Bear. Oh, and the thunder beings. So I need to do sing a song for the thunder beings because they are very powerful healers as well. So Mato Peji Hota is next. Mato Peji Hota, Mato Peji Hota, Mato Peji Hota in the moonlight. And then I'm going to do a song for the thunder beings. Okay. So we did that. Where's the pipe? Okay, very good. So, so I have found that when I first started working with Raymond Grace, and I also trained a little bit with Walt Woods, they always told me, and in my native traditions, that it's really not, I mean, it's our intentions that are doing the healing work, but it's really the spirits and the beings of light that are doing the work in the other realms and the other dimensions, the other space and time. And since we're all multidimensional beings, it's really important to heal what we can't see in this realm, because there's all kinds of stuff going on in the hidden realms, because we are multidimensional beings. So developing relationships with the water goddesses, with the earth mother, with the Tunkashilas, with ancestral beings, to me was vital, because there was just so much healing to do, and there's no way I could do it all myself. I mean, Yes.
There's a Macha Mama who's in and is sitting back. Perhaps we could begin to.
Yes, please join the circle. Do you want to sit? Come sit with us, grandmother. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't see.
I don't know when she came in. One oh yeah,
And please hand that to her. Yes, come into the circle, grandmother. Yes. No, no, you're not interrupting. No, no. Thank you. So, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the three worlds. So when yes, blessing with the beautiful waters. So, so when we have shock or trauma, or sometimes it's misperceptions that can cause a part of our soul to leave. Where does it go? So this was something that to me was really important to know because, like, where does it go? You know? So there's three worlds, and this is pretty universal. The Hawaiians have the three worlds. The ancient Celtic peoples have the three worlds. Native Americans, my tribal lineages have the three worlds. So I am using the Mayan terms there. They're on the board over there. So, so soul fragments. So, oh yes, when we're children, babies, even in the womb, if our parents have soul fragments, we take these on because we don't have any filters. And even when we're born, we don't have filters. We don't know boundaries. We can't say, oh, that's mom upset because dad is home late and he already ate dinner and she cooked a nice dinner. We don't have the ability to separate. So we sometimes take on our soul fragments or emotional processes from our parents, from our siblings, from any kind of relations around us. So these can sometimes get stuck inside our body, which is also multidimensional. And the inside of our body is called the ukupacha, the inner world. So that's one place that soul fragments can get stuck. And usually when that happens, there's cording, attachments, things like that. And we'll talk about how to clear those out. And so another world is the Kaipacha. The Kaipacha is the earth world, the physical realm that's around us, and other dimensions of the earth mother. And that's where condor really comes into play, because condor has the ability to fly really far and really high to recover soul fragments that have left and for whatever reason are not able to return on their own. Now sometimes soul fragments will return on their own, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Hanak Pacha is our angelic higher dimensional soul and our oversoul. And sometimes soul fragments will need to have, there's a process that I go through, which I will cover in a minute. So the Hanakpacha, sometimes soul fragments will go near there, up there. And also there's divine origins where the stars that we came from. Sometimes, and my Mayan teacher Puma says that the sudden infant death is when the babies are born and there's stuff going on in the family and the soul is like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm going back to where I came from, which is much safer. And this soul sometimes will go back to divine origins, to divine origins. So, so we are all from the stars. We're all from the stars that have come to Earth for a physical existence, an accelerated school. The three worlds, the inner world, which is in our bodies, is the Ukupacha. The Kaipacha is the Earth Mother and all of her dimensions. And then the Hanakpacha is the higher angelic layer and our oversoul. And when I'm doing soul retrieval, soul repair for people, it's often, usually, the last stage. So I'll go through the stages of healing. Usually, there's the oversoul wants to bring in new information, new light, and then the light from the Pleiadians comes in. So when my typical healing process for someone that wants to have some soul retrieval or thinks there's parts of themselves that are missing. So the first thing that my guides, so this is a process I've been working with for 10 years now. So the guides will look into the person's body to see if there's any soul fragments that are trapped from other people or that have been stuck in themselves, and then heal and release those and pull out cords. So the Ukupacha is the first step of the soul healing. The second step is, and we can ask this with dowsing, you can ask, is there soul fragments stuck in the Ukupacha? So we can translate this into questions for the pendulum dowsing. The second step is once the soul has, the Ukupacha has been cleared, then that is brought, so the soul fragment is brought up to, released from the Ukupacha and brought to the Kaipacha. Now in each of these places, I have Athena, the Greek goddess Athena, is very, she has an ancient tradition of healing souls. This is something I found in one of my crazy researches that I do in ancient texts. Athena specialized in soul retrieval and soul repair. So in the Ukupacha stage, I have in an alternate world, Athena has a cave where she brings the soul to that place in the Ukupacha world for repair and healing. So that is the first step. And that is something that we're sharing now. So that's something you can douse for. Do I need to have, or does the client need to have repair from a soul removed from the Ukupacha? Doesn't Athena need to do repair work? And then the second step is the soul fragment being brought to the Kaipacha world. Now in my Kaipacha world, I also studied with a Hawaiian shaman, Hank Wesselman. I was called by Pele to work with her. So in my Kaipacha world, Pele is the next step for healing the soul. And that's where Condor comes into play, because she's the earth goddess of earth and fire and water. And fire and water are both really wonderful transformers. And I studied with Hank at the Omega Institute, and a couple months before I even left, Pele came to me at night and said, I want to help you. And I didn't even know, I mean, this was a long time ago. I didn't even know what she did, what her qualities were. So that was something that I learned through Hank Wesselman. So in the Kai Pacha world, the world of the earth, and the other dimensions of the Earth Mother, Pele and Condor are doing that soul healing in that place. And then once that is complete, that cycle is completed, then the soul fragments fragment are brought to the Hanukkah Pacha by Condor. And I usually see Condor, I'm very visual. So I see Condor sitting on this huge tree, and Condor, and then I see the light from the Oversoul coming down, and the Oversoul light matches the light of the Pleiadians, healing all the 7 layers of the chakra system. And I see the light covering and washing the souls. And then the Condor, once that is finished, that cycle is finished, then I see Condor bringing the soul back to Pele, who may do a little more healing and integration and harmony. And then Pele brings that back to Athena, and Athena returns the soul fragment to the person. So it's a beautiful cycle of goddess energy. And that's where knowing and learning about the 3 worlds really was crucial for this whole process of healing the soul fragments. And you can dowse. Does this soul fragment need to be healed in the Uku Pacha, Kai Pacha, Hanukkah Pacha? And when you're doing your prayers, when you're making offerings to the ancestral beings, making offerings to the Earth Mothers, to the Tunkashalas, to Unchimaka, that is how you develop relationships with the goddesses and with these spiritual beings, by making offerings. So you can use tobacco. If you don't have tobacco, you can use sage, you can burn incense. That's why in all the ancient temples around the world, incense was burned and held sacred, because they were beautiful offerings to the spirits. Sorry. Let's see. Sure. Yeah, sure.
Why would you want to know whether it went to Uku, Kai, or Hanukkah?
Well, you don't have to know, but there may become an instance where a soul fragment doesn't need to be healed in Uku Pacha. It only needs to be healed in the Kai Pacha. So it gives you more options, and it gives you more wisdom to work with. Well, you can ask, does this soul fragment need healing in the Uku Pacha realm? Does this soul fragment need healing in the Kai Pacha realm? Does this soul fragment need healing in the Hanukkah Pacha Oversoul realm? Now, for the divine origins, I have a different spirit helper that goes to the stars to retrieve soul fragments that have gone back to divine origins, to bring them back. Now, usually that happens by itself when the soul fragment is being healed in the Hanukkah Pacha by the Oversoul, but not always. Sometimes it's a spontaneous thing. I've had some of my soul fragments come to me when I'm in that awake sleep, that middle world place, the fairy world. That's where the fairy enchantment comes in, where you're half awake, half asleep. That's when I'm aware of a lot of my guides and spiritual beings that are doing healing on me. And sometimes it's spontaneous. Now, the crucial thing is about the Kaipacha. Now, if there's a soul fragment that had a traumatic experience, our soul fragments will want to protect themselves. And so I've seen my own soul fragments and others in like a brick room or a room surrounded by rocks or something like that. And in that instance, that's where knowing where the soul fragment is, I've needed condor or eagle to go in and with their claws and their beaks remove that brick wall so that the soul fragment can be then healed by the Hanak Pacha and then return. So sometimes our soul fragments will come back to us if we just call them back, like softly to yourself. Let's do that right now. Softly to yourself, call back, and you can, if you changed your name, I would use both names, and just softly say, Sophia, come back to me. Colleen, come back to me. Sophia, come back to me. Come back to me. So these are the soul fragments that are ready, that are willing, and that are able to return on their own. Now, in the Mayan tradition, mothers can help their children's soul fragments come back just by calling their name. And we can also douse for those. So when we're doing this kind of work, you might want to ask the soul's fragments, are they ready to come back? Are they willing to come back? And are they able to come back? Because if they've gone to protect themselves somewhere, or they're so far away they don't know how to get back, then we ask Condor. Or if you have another spirit helper, you can ask them to go find these soul fragments and then have them be healed by fifth dimensional energy. If you can use that term instead of the Hanak Pacha or oversoul. It's the same energy. So these are questions. Yeah.
Just a question. I know it might sound strange.
No, no, no.
You could use a similar technique to help dementia patients actually retrieve their memory.
Well, you could always try. There's nothing, I've never
Because it
done that
helps
kind of work.
like when they lose their memory,
Mm,
they lose their soul, part of their life. They have no memory
yes,
what has gone on. And I'm
yes.
wondering if possibly some of them could retrieve their, their memory fragments as well as their, with their soul fragments.
Yes,
Maybe you call their soul fragments some of the memory fragments.
that is very possible. I've never worked with anyone, but you certainly, I mean, Raymond Grace always said, if you don't try it, you don't know that you can't do it. And and that reminds me, thank you for bringing that up, because even if you don't know the world where the soul fragment is, you can still ask your guides, guardians, allies, your spirit helpers, your angels to go find the soul's fragments, heal them.
How would they get through an event with,
An event, a shock, trauma. If someone's in the hospital with surgery, that can cause soul loss. Car accidents, and a shocking event, like, for instance, a partner says, I want to get a divorce, and it's shocking because you had no preparation. It also can happen with children by misperceptions. Like, I can't think of an example, but a misperception. Well, for instance, Hank Wesselman's wife has done a lot of soul retrieval, and she had a woman come to her and said, well, when my mother had a baby, I had soul loss. And she didn't, and so the woman, the client, saw her mother leave in the ambulance. Now, this was in the 50s when women went to the hospital in the ambulance to have the child because there was some kind of complication. And the daughter thought her mother was going to die. And so there was soul loss, and that was an incorrect perception. So even a perception that we don't understand can cause a soul to be separated. So that brings up my next point, which, how do you know you have had soul loss? Well, have you ever heard anyone say, well, I left my heart in Tennessee when the blonde woman with my love broke up with me or had an affair? When my grandparents sold the farm, a bit of myself died that day. These are all words and terms indicating soul loss. I heard someone say that when that famous car racer man had the accident, I forgot what his name was, died, a lot of people in the audience said that parts of themselves died that day when they watched that accident. And so that's group soul loss. So groups can have soul loss as well. So, and when I've done this healing for groups, families can have soul loss. If the matriarch dies and it changes everyone's lives, it changes financial foundations. Maybe there was in the past lives a plague that went through. That can cause group soul loss. So I've been gifted these songs and learned the songs from these different nations for healing group situations. And sometimes I've had to do 2 hours of drumming to heal some big soul loss for someone. Now, usually the 3-world process takes about an hour. And that is the average time for healing some soul loss. But if it's a group or family situation, it can take a while. And sometimes for someone who's had multiple traumas, it can take years for a piece of the soul to return. So it can take a long time sometimes. And that's where the prayer, the blessings, the songs come in. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I guess that's, okay, so I want to teach you a song today. This is going to be really easy. So in the Mayan tradition, Wilka means sacred. Wilka. Wilka. And NT is hummingbird. ENTI. So the direction of the east is new life and new beginnings, and also unconditional love. And so that is the song. I just keep repeating it over and over and over when I'm doing healing for bringing in that beautiful, beautiful energy, because the hummingbird connects the earth with the oversoul and the Hanak Pacha realms. And that is the beauty of the hummingbird medicine and bringing in light. And hummingbird also is great at removing cords and attachments. Yeah. So, sure. It connects the earth realm with the Hanak Pacha, which is the angelic oversoul realm. So I want to just also go over, so Wilka Enti is sacred hummingbird. Wilka Mune, M-U-N-A-Y. Mune is the direction, is the essence of the direction of the east, which is the direction of unconditional love. It's also the direction of the Sphinx and Sekhmet and the sun and fire and the white lions and the tree of life. Isn't that beautiful? It's just beautiful. So this song is, I will say it first, Wilka Enti, which is hummingbird, Wilka Mune, Wilka rose petals. So I'll just sing that for a couple of rounds. We'll do 4, and we'll use that song to finish up our ceremony. How's that? Wilka Enti, Wilka Mune, Wilka rose petals, 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 Okay, thank you so much. So let's stand up and hold hands and just give each other blessings of light and love. Oh, thank you so much. Blessings of light and love for everyone and all of the ancestors and the Earth Mother and the Tunkashalas and the Unchimakas and all the beings of light, all the sacred directions, and all of our souls and our hearts. And I ask that we ground our roots down into the crystal core of the Mother Earth, Unchimaka. And blessings to all of you. May you walk in beauty. Oh, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.